Hello and welcome to the talk for today. For all the parents who are watching this video, do you feel that your children have lost out on learning this year? While virtual classes are a great way to continue learning, do you still feel that everything cannot possibly be taught online? Reduced hours means reduced curriculum. Do you as a parent ever wonder what that means for your child for the next year? If these questions have crossed your mind and you want to know more, stay with us while we pack the next 30 minutes to understand from some of the top experts on the panel today, their strategies and solutions to help mitigate the COVID-19 learning loss. I am Pooja Kedia from Schoolvisor, and today I am joined by Mrs. Brinda Ghosh. Mrs. Ghosh brings with her a varied experience with stints in some of the best institutions in the country, like Vikas in Madurai, Welham Girls School in Dehradun, Ivy League Hyderabad, and YPS in Patiala. She has been a founder principal for two schools, the JGE International School in Ahmedabad and the Ecole Global International Girls School in Dehradun. Mrs. Ghosh is a gold awardee of the IAYP and has been a national and international level trainer for the same. She has traveled across the world from Australia to US to Jakarta, Indonesia, Berlin, and Lahore as a trainer. An author of two books, her articles are also published by the ACER, an Australian Journal on Education. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ghosh, for joining us today. We know that you're currently heading the Gyantri School in Noida. We would love to hear what your thoughts are about the topic in another minute or so. We're also today joined by Mrs. Manju Gupta. Mrs. Gupta comes with over 4 decades of diverse work experience and has been a principal of schools that have offered CBSE, Cambridge, and IB curriculums. Mrs. Gupta is a recipient of the National Teachers Award, Pride of India Award, Inspiring Educators Award, and many more. She is a national trainer with CBSE, Pearson, Cambridge, and a few others. She has been an education consultant with education societies and organizations for developing human resource, new age curriculums, and the 360-degree development of organization. Mrs. Gupta is currently the principal at Kothari International, Noida. Welcome and thank you so much for talking to us today. All right, I'm going to jump straight into the conversation, and if I could start with you, Mrs. Ghosh. Help us understand the learning loss that has happened. Has that been more a loss in terms of the depth of learning, or is it the width of learning? So let's assume for a child, for instance, a child who's in grade 3 and is required to do about 15 topics. This year, are you doing 10 topics instead of 15, or are you doing all 15 but doing them in lesser detail? Mrs. Ghosh, you're on mute. Mrs. Ghosh, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Yes, I've unmuted myself.
Right.
Thank you. Pooja, yes, we've had a little bit of a problem as far as time is concerned because, we can't have as long hours as we had when normal school was on. So it is but natural that we had to think of strategies by way of which we could cover what we wanted to cover even in the normal course of time. So teachers have actually spent a lot of time thinking about how we could least affect the understanding of the concepts that are required to be understood in a certain class by the children. So we have tried to fit that in as best possible. We've reduced the duration of the class. We've reduced some of the topics, and as it is, you know that even the CBSE has advised us to, kind of cut 30% of the current syllabus. But in the lower classes, we are not necessarily governed by those directives. However, we have taken into consideration what is absolutely essential that a child should know at that particular, in that particular class. And I think we are managing fine as far as the absolute basics are concerned and as far as whatever is required to be done is concerned. So I think that way we are managing quite well. But many things are affected when you reduce the time of the class. For instance, we really don't get that kind of feedback, immediate feedback as we would get when there is a regular class. Because in a regular class, you would come to know what percentage of the children have really understood the concept. Are they with you or not? In an online session, there are limitations. There are limitations even to the attendance of the class because it's not really in your hand. And also in terms of making children do their written work and to submit it. So it's impacting a few of the skills of the juniors because everything is online. So the writing practice and other things, the teacher is not in control. However, we have found ways by which some practice work can be given to the children, and we have sought the cooperation of our parent community, and it is only with their constant effort with the children at home, because they also look out for work that the children can do on their own, which is not really online work, and they're only too happy to have some suggestions being given to them in terms of worksheets and what they can do in terms of, practice reading and writing and those kind of things. So some measures of this kind we've had to take, and I wouldn't be, right if I said that it hasn't impacted learning at all. Of course, it has impacted learning in a big way.
Great, thank you so much. And I think, firstly, I'd like to thank you for being extremely candid. So, it's very gracious of you to come and say, yes, there has been a learning loss, but we're, I think, still lucky to carry on that teaching for our children, which not everybody around the globe has been fortunate to witness.
Absolutely.
Right, what you said absolutely makes sense. The basics are kind of going on, is what I hear you say. CBSE has looked at a reduced curriculum. Written work, obviously, that does get impacted. Regular feedback is something that has become probably not as regular as it used to be. And attendance for children, again, has been impacted. Now, help me understand the way CBSE has come back with a changed curriculum. What does the curriculum look like? Just help us get an understanding of with an example. Is it again impacting the amount of things that were done, or the way?
No. It's a very, it's done in such a way that the learning of the child in that particular class is not really impacted. The understanding levels are not impacted. Whatever concepts that they need to know are there. And there are some related topics which one can do without, But they have also said at the same time that you may not assess the children for this, but if you can, you should, try and do this whenever time permits and cover it up. So that is also going on. And in the higher classes, the impact is not all that much, because we do manage to get a little more time with the higher classes. With classes 8 and upwards, we get about 5, we have 5 hours schooling that is going on. So with the breaks and everything. So I don't think they are impacted as much as the very little ones are. It's very difficult for the very little ones to sit in front of a screen and learn as they would learn in a school atmosphere, So it's a constant reinforcement that goes on. But yet I would say a lot of good learning is happening.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that. Manjuji, my next question is for you. And I think Mrs. Ghosh has kind of spilled over to what I was going to ask you. But let me get your thoughts as well. So, she very rightly mentioned that, there is a differentiation between the lower grades and the higher grades. Now, help me understand, in your view, there are parents that come to our portal and say, well, foundation years, little ones, it's really critical for them to catch on now, because otherwise there's loss of time. Well, we've got parents who are parents of older children who say, the little ones will always catch up. It's more the crucial years that matter more. In your opinion, which grades do you think are impacted most because of this learning loss?
If you say impacted, well, everybody is impacted, but everybody's found new ways of learning, and everybody's found their own skies to soar greater heights. So I would say it's an opportunity. When you're talking about the curriculum, it's an opportunity. And as Mrs. Ghosh said, that we have kept away what was not so necessary. Okay, so I am reminded of meeting Professor Yashpal, the creator of NCF 2005. And I had invited him over to my school in Baroda. And he, in his keynote address and in candid discussions, he said, we're teaching education as one side closed barrel for years. Okay, and that means whatever new is coming, we are putting it in. And whatever old is there, that is also in. Like, to give you an example, today's child need not be taught CAR car. Or when I took these 4 years out in the field and teacher showed me, they don't recognize it as a car. They recognize it as Hyundai, as Maruti, and that too the model of Maruti. Whether it is a maze or whether this is this or whether. So this generation has moved ahead. But what we have done in education, we've kept it as cold. So we are stuck at CAR car and they have moved on to Ascent. So come on, let's now change. So this is an opportunity to remove whatever is redundant and whatever we can do away with. As Brindaji said, that, well, whatever was not so necessary, CBSE said, and we as educators, school policy makers also decided, and I did it means I'm very happy that I did it. We deleted all that was unnecessary and life could move on without that. And it happened K to 12, I would say. I'm talking about 11th, 12th also, where the board exams are there. It's all right. We change our pedagogies, we change our learning styles, and we change our complete learning platform. And the result of that is children are happy, the teachers are happy. I asked the other day, the last week I had a meeting. I said, when we have reduced it, do you feel an impact of it that your child has lost? No. And the answer was from all quarters, whether that was students or the teachers, everybody feels that whatever has been reduced should have been reduced long back. So the whole story is that we are doing certain unnecessary things for last couple of decades, I would say, and haven't changed. So now it's an opportunity to change, and we are changing, and I'm thankful for this new environment and the openness of the parents, the teachers. Like, for parents, if curriculum is reduced, for them also, the stress reduced, the child is less stressed because he has to, whatever you may say, of course, we don't believe in cramming, but the Indian education system also talks about that you have to learn few facts. So they are reduced and he's a happy child. So I ask children also, do you find, we've given you the new curriculum, do you find that it is it in, oh Manju ma'am, we are so happy then that all this is deleted. So the children are happy, and my call comes from Pooja. The grade 10 teacher says that grade 6 never taught anything. Grade 9 teacher says grade 7 never taught anything. So the result is children, because whatever we teach for examination because of the volume. So by deleting certain unnecessary portions, we'll be able to teach them more in depth, interestingly, and with less stress. So the learning, whether it is K or it is 12, across has improved. That's my calling, that it has improved. But yes, social and emotional part of learning, because learning is incomplete, cognitive learning is not enough, but the social and emotional touch to learning is happening. But I wish it happens little more, that children hold their hands together and do some activities. Teachers can pat a child, though of course it's a big taboo not to touch a child, but teachers could pat a child for doing right, or question with the raised eyebrows that why has it gone wrong. So my call is that learning is happening. Yes, it is changed in its style, it's changed in its dimension, but it's there, and whatever is happening, I'm happy, and I'm forward looking that things will turn out to be better. Like so many things which we couldn't do with teachers also and with students, all taking them to the digital world was a difficult task. Absolutely. And it happened. And I'm happy it happened all of with touch of a button. So where I was struggling, that come on, let's use manipulatives, let's have, like, let's bring in real also to the real, but it happened by whatever happened, and the result is teachers have come back richer. Teachers are richer. Teacher is richer than what she was, because she's modulated herself. And so teacher is happy, learning is happy, the child is happy. Yes, parents are a little not happy because they are supporting too much.
Right. But I think thank you so much for that positivity. I think what you've said makes a lot of sense. Yes, there has been an impact, and your belief is that that impact has happened all through K and 12. It isn't certain grades that have been impacted. There has been a reduction in the curriculum, but in your opinion, it is something that was warranted. So thank you so much for that. And I think unfortunate situations, but it's kind of pushed us in a space where we've been pushed to do something that probably should have been done long time back. Mrs. Ghosh, help us also understand. A lot of parents come to us and worry about the curriculum changes. Now, there are parents who say, maths is such a critical subject and it needs a lot of practice, needs a lot of time, and believe that there should be enough time that should be spent on subjects that are more crucial vis-a-vis the other. Do you as an educator believe that there are some topics or some fields of study that have been impacted more than the others?
One is that I think that I really personally don't believe that any subject is less important than the other. Even the arts, the fine arts, or for that matter, even physical education is not less important than maths or physics or any other subject is. But yes, some subjects are certainly impacted because where practicals is involved and that cannot be done as effectively as it could be done in a laboratory in the classroom. Or fine arts also for that matter, the art class with the teacher not being present to give that kind of a guidance. Okay, there is a guidance, but not as much as it can be in a regular class, So every subject in some way or the other, to some extent, is impacted. But when you took the example of math, who is preventing children from doing all the practice? Once a concept is being dealt with by the teacher, I would say that the children have a little more time to practice because they've saved on a lot of time on commuting. They have lesser, duration of the classes per se. So I think there is an opportunity for children to make use of, to sit and practice, to solve as many papers as they can in the senior classes if they have to do that. And as far as all the rest of the children are concerned, there are so many opportunities for them to hone their skills, to read a lot because, there is a constant grumbling that they don't get enough time to read. Here is your time now to read. And here is a time for you to practice whatever skills you want to practice. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for children to actually learn a lot of things at home, which they probably miss out when they are in school. And, after school, there's this trend of going for a tuition, one tuition or more than a tuition, or going for some dance class or whatever. So this is an opportunity for them to, learn so many different kinds of things sitting at home. And I think they can make best use of it. And a lot of the subjects will probably benefit because they will be better at it. Their skills would become better. I mean, personally speaking, I as a parent would be very happy because I would be able to guide my child to do other things other than just going on doing the same old homework at home.
True, thank you so much. And I think that's a true educator talking, finding an opportunity in every problem.
Yes.
What I heard you say, I think the two things really resonated with me. Read and practice more. And I think that's a message that goes out to all the parents who are watching this video. Here's your opportunity. Your child is saving time in terms of commute, in terms of longer school hours. So please use that time wisely. Thank you so much for that advice. Manjuji, if I were to move on for my next question, what are the kind of things that schools are now discussing? I'm sure internally you are slowly and gradually edging towards getting prepared to open school physically. It is bound to happen someday, and we're hoping someday soon. Now, help us understand, are you talking about things like maybe a 6-day working, longer school hours, blended learning, which would probably mean longer hours for children to try and make up for this learning loss? Or are the conversations more around, you put this to rest and then you move on to what the focus is for that particular academic year, or at that point when you join, you kind of pick up from where we left off?
Okay. I would first of all take up what Brinda ma'am was saying. And your question, the previous question to Brinda ma'am, I'll pick up from there. You asked which subject is more important, and what we are discussing, and I'm connecting you to your new question, is as I was having my staff meeting, and I said, well, come on, you could do math, science, which is supposed to be a social science or the languages, with this much of time, and you are happy doing it. So what can we do when we reopen? And I've been talking, like, convincing teachers, convincing parents, it needs a lot of effort. So I've been talking to them and I said, can we have 50% of the school time on life skills and other activities and only 50% of time on scholastic activities, right? So teach maths same number of periods as you give them physical education, as you give them art. Otherwise, in our curriculum, in our timetable, we devote only 2 periods for art, but 6 periods for maths. My call is, now let's have 4 periods of maths and 4 periods of arts. Let's have 4 periods of library and 4 periods of games and 4 periods of science. So let's have equal distribution of all ways of learning, all areas of learning. So this is one thing, this one discussion is happening now in my system, future when we reopen school. So what we are trying to do is that, come on, let's have equal weightage given to any way of learning and multiple ways of learning. So
I'm very curious to ask you at this stage, how is everybody responding to that? So, specifically parents of children who are senior kids, is there panic or are they welcoming the suggestion?
Well, it has just begun, so I haven't received enough feedback from parents. Let us be, first of all, in-house, let's be ready, and then I'll float it. And I'm quite convinced that I'm quite sure I'll be able to convince everybody. Because that's the way the education should happen. Why should we give lesser time or lesser weightage to art, the fine arts, the performing arts? They bring out so much. I'm asking you, Pooja, remember, close your eyes and see. What do you remember of your school days? A physics lesson or a dance lesson? You would always remember a dance lesson, and with a lot of happiness within if you enjoy dancing. But we kill the child in the physics lesson and take away, rob the happiness of the child. So I want to create a happy learning environment, which has everything. I would not say that I will undermine science. I'm a physics teacher, so always the word physics comes on my, in my conversation. So the science is equally important as dance. Art is equally important as math. So come on, can we blend everything? And in our primary sections, we've done that. In K-5, we have concept learning. So there are no subjects per se. Till K-5, we don't have a subject like maths, Hindi, English. It's blended. So one answer is we are looking forward for giving equal importance and convincing parents, convincing teachers. Teachers are with me now, and I have now big job of telling the world that it's possible. And when I used to take these sessions on life skills as a national trainer, I would always say, well, what is important in life? Life skills, the attitudes and the profile of a child, or this English, Hindi, maths? So come on, schools, get up. The policy makers, get up. Give enough importance in making a child a risk taker, a communicator, other things, than to teach them this, whatever we teach. Absolutely. So if we change for better, I think it's an opportunity to look forward to change for better. The second thing, my question was that as we reopen right now, like I'll say, how I started my dialogue. I've asked 21st of September, government has sent us a directive that, well, you can start for 9 to 12 for consultation. And I've told my teachers, come on, tell me what you could not do in these 5 months of curriculum transaction, what you could not do. Tell me one thing and we'll do that in school. You know what was the answer? One was, as Brinda said, the lab work, and lab also we've done through simulations and virtual labs. We've done a lot of it. But touching a vernier calipers and seeing it on a screen, these are two different things. So we decided, so one is the lab we are going to do 21st onwards, and in the, if at all the teachers say that 9 to 12, we have to give them a practice to sit down and write, which she was saying that writing practice is not happening. So one is The writing, because they have to write a board probably this year or not, I don't know, but they have to write exams. So writing practice, sitting 3 hours in front of the teacher with a stick in her hand, sorry to say that. So observing children writing properly. And the other is the lab work. We are opening for that only, and beyond that. And the third is sports. The sports teachers are jumping. They want to do sports a lot. The music teachers are able to do a little on virtually, but they also want to. So all these teachers are very excited. But maths teacher and the science teacher, they say that we can manage this way. So that's how the thought process is going on. And I'm very sure whatever will be final form will be child-centric, child-friendly, and will create a happy learning environment for the child. So if children are happy, learning happens.
Thank you so much for that. And I think what you've said is absolutely true. I think COVID has fortunately put us at a crossroad where we have an opportunity now to either look backward and say we go back to how life was, or we move forward and we revamp things. So for all the parents who are watching this video, Manjuji is essentially looking at strategies and ways in which we kind of go ahead and use this time as an opportunity to relook at how we've done things and possibly change the way things have happened in the past. Thank you so much, Manjuji. If I could now come for my closing notes, I'd like to very quickly come to you, Mrs. Ghosh. So help me understand, obviously, parents' involvement and what we've seen as a parent's role in a child's education this year has been different from what it has been last year. Very quickly, in about a minute or so, help me understand, one, what is the school's expectation from a parent this year? Is it any different? And secondly, what is your one key advice to parents who are watching this video?
The role is a little different from what it would be when regular school is on. One is that there is a constant monitoring that the parent has to do now at home, which the parent was free of when the child was in school for 4 hours or 6 hours, or as the case may be. So yes, the monitoring is there. And what I would expect a parent to do is, yes, the child is working online, but the online work needs far more vigilant monitoring than any other thing. So while they may be at peace thinking that the child is attending a class and that is what he is doing online, it may be a different scene altogether. And so I think it's the responsibility of the parent is certainly a little more than what at this particular, the school time, which they were away from. So that definitely is a little more responsibility on the parent's shoulder. And yes, to monitor some of the work that the child was doing independently earlier, now the parent has to sit and monitor that too, because the teacher is telling them, particularly in the lower classes, please watch to see whether the child is holding his or her pencil correctly, doing the strokes correctly, etc. So yes, of course, the parent's role is slightly more now than it was before. I mean, it should be that way in any case.
Any case, absolutely. And any one tip that you would like to give parents to see them through this time very quickly?
You know what? I would like parents to stop worrying about the curriculum that needs to be done this year and my child is going to be at a loss next year. Nothing will happen to the child who might learn a few concepts lesser than what he would have learned in a regular school. What the parent needs to really essentially watch out is to see that the child is emotionally secure and that he's getting correct attention and he's safe at home in a safe atmosphere, and they're not taking any risks with the child's emotional security, and the child is not frightened of whatever is happening in the world, because sometimes parents in there pass on their paranoia as well as their fears to the children. So I think one essential thing that parents will have to do is to maintain an atmosphere at home which is positive and allow children to be positive also and happy, and to give them the sense that we can win this over.
Thank you so much. And I think what you've said is key to the situation that is being faced. Make sure that there is positivity around, make sure that the child feels secure now more than ever before. Make sure that you kind of take care of that emotional quotient while teachers are doing their bit to do their best in terms of making sure that there is academic progress. Be vigilant and make sure that the child is actually doing the right thing. And that's also the fear, especially when they're online and they've got so much information at hand. So you want to all the time make sure that they're only watching what they must. Thank you so much, both of you. I think it's been extremely insightful for me today, and I'm sure so has it been for all the parents who are watching this video. I, as a parent, know for a fact that I've had my shares of frustrations. I've had my share of technology issues with kids. I've had those dialogues with friends, and especially friends of parents who've got two children, kind of split between the two, managing work, managing home, and trying to manage the child while they're in school. Obviously, increased screen time, which is not the best place to be in. But like all other changes and all other transformations, this new environment will also take time to settle in. And I think we've done fairly well when it comes to the settling in phase. While yes, academic learning for our kids has been there, and it's been slightly slow, but it has been there. But I think the key message during this time is, like it was rightly discussed today, is that things like digital literacy, self-discipline, resilience, independence, better skills when it comes to research, collaboration, kids being more sensitive towards their friends, towards teachers. They get logged out sometimes and they have to wait, and they're telling each other, wait, ma'am is going to come back on, must be a technical glitch. All of those things, I think, are invaluable and will go a long way to shape up the personality of our little ones. Learning, I think, all these skills will hopefully more than make up for the academic loss. So thank you so much. I know Mrs. Ghosh mentioned that please do not worry about the learning loss. I think stay focused on staying safe and making sure your children still get a conducive environment to learn whatever they are learning. On that note, I would like to say a big thank you to you, Mrs. Gupta, and to Mrs. Ghosh for taking this time out and talking to us and talking to our parents.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Until we meet again, be safe, be informed, and be school wiser. Thank you so much.
You too. Stay